Matteo Gratarola, 6th in round 1 on 17 marks. That's 6 marks back from the current qualification cut-off and 8 from Toby Martin. Embarking on section 1. 2 main steps here, starting with the opener already completed successfully by Matteo Gratarola, who thus far is clean. Working his way through under the observation of FIM section observer Moreno Piazza. In section number 1, Matteo Gratarola, tough start to the night. He's got plenty of work to do now to try and battle his way into contention. Needs to keep his score over the next 5 sections as low as possible to hope to make back that 6-mark margin. Biggest step then of section number 1 here for Matteo Gratarola. And he's up, and he's still clean. Matteo Gratarola with a fine ride in section number 1. That's more like it from him. Gratarola, the 34-year-old Italian, fresh of course from his first extra podium a fortnight ago in Nice. Better representative making his 14th extra appearance here tonight. Section number 2 now, onto the rock cages. A series of 4 rock islands to cross here. They gradually build in height from here on in. First step completed successfully. Matteo Gratarola still clean for his round 2 run so far. Just balancing himself into position. Make the first of the steps, just misjudged that slightly. Lands short, lands on the sump. That's a single mark for leaning then and 1 for footing as well. You could see the left foot going down for a dab. So 2 marks now for Matteo Gratarola, still far from disastrous. He's pressing on nicely, and that was some good work to make it onto the last of those rock islands without dropping any further ground. And it should be home and hosed for Matteo Gratarola now in section number 2. So just 2 marks from the opening 2 sections of round number 2 for Matteo Gratarola, and certainly a far superior performance to what he managed with a 17-mark total in his opening run. Matteo Gratarola, who impressed everyone at Extra Nice last time out, really took the fight to Toni Bou in the opening round and led Raga 2 sections from the finish in the final. Not the first lap, as I say, he would have hoped for tonight, but battling back well here. Into section 3 now, Matteo Gratarola. This one a technical challenge. Big step started us off. Now a challenging descent with very little room for manoeuvre here. Matteo Gratarola up on the back wheel. He'll now attempt to land it carefully the other side. He does so, slips momentarily backwards, but he's just about got the back wheel back into the section. You can see the concrete block there that Gratarola positions himself on before continuing on. So just 1 more island now of modules for Matteo Gratarola to successfully complete section 3. And for the first rider out in these sections, Gratarola really is laying down the gauntlet to his rivals. 2 marks from 3 sections, 17 marks, remember, in round number 1. So Gratarola on a progressive score now of 19 with 2 sections remaining. Now on to the cable reels. Ostensibly, I would suggest this one the most difficult of the round 2 sections. He's got 2 towers of cable reels to climb here, Matteo Gratarola, for the penultimate section of round number 2 for the Italian. Watched on, of course, by the 5 men who defeated him in the opening round. Gratarola desperate to try and haul himself back into contention for a place in tonight's grand final. Up the first of the 2 main towers and making it look easy there, Gratarola. This one is even tougher because it's angled away from the riders. You can see it's the height of 3 cable reels here for Matteo Gratarola to try and surmount because of the positioning of it against the direction of the riders. So Gratarola with work to do. It's been a good ride so far. Section number 4, the biggest moment of the penultimate section in this second run. And Matteo Gratarola is up. He had to take a single mark for leaning there, much to his own frustration. He obviously felt it was possible to make it through there without dropping that mark. It's only a 3rd mark of the run for Gratarola, who He really has impressed the Colosseum so far in round number 2, making up for a disappointing opening round then, the Italian. One section still to come. The cylinders now section 5. I would suggest this is probably the easier of the run. Matteo Gratarola with plenty of time in hand as well. Remember, it's 5 minutes for 5 sections in round number 2. It's one section at a time in the grand final. That's where Matteo Gratarola hopes he will end up. He is laying down the benchmark for his rivals, of course, who are still yet to come. He sits in 6th position coming into round number 2, and there he will remain unless any riders will slip below him in the remaining. Section 5 then completed successfully with a clean. That's a 3rd clean of the run for Matteo Gratarola, who scores just 3 marks in round number 2. His progressive total then 20. A fine performance there from Gratarola after a disappointing opening round. Jaime Busto, 5th in round 1, for a maximum of 6 marks now in round 2 to stay there ahead, of course, of Matteo Gratarola. Busto only 2 marks from 3rd place after his opening run, so still very much a contender for the podium positions here tonight. Single drop mark for leaning on the very first step of the trunks, section number 1. This one cleaned, remember, by Matteo Gratarola, who, considering he was opening the ground in the sections in round number 2, really put in a quite remarkable run to just 3 marks. Busto already on a single digit, that mark for leaning on the first step. This is the second major step of the trunks. As you can see, the assistant himself struggling to get up towards the top there. That's where Jaime Busto has got to make it. The upright trunk here. Busto gets up. He has to take a mark for footing, a dab of the left foot, and it's 2 marks in section 1 for Jaime Busto. Remember, Matteo Gratarola was clean through there, so Busto already only 1 mark away from the score that Matteo Gratarola managed on the whole run. And Busto moves on to a progressive total of 15. Gratarola, remember, finished on 20. Section number 2 then for Jaime Busto opens with a sizable step and opens with a strong, determined effort from Jaime Busto. 5th in his opening run tonight, matching his performance from Extra-Nice a fortnight ago. Eventually managed to salvage 4th. On that occasion, finished some 11 marks back from the top 3, and Busto looking to return to the final tonight. Already has 8 extra podiums, of course, to his name. Taking his time here, because there is plenty in the bank. We saw that from a strong first ride from Matteo Gratarola, who never really looked under any great time pressure. And neither does Busto here, but he's pressing on in section number 2. Nice leap, that one, watched from the onboard camera, as Busto makes it now to the end of section number 2, and this one set to steady his nerves. It's a first clean of round 2 for Jaime Busto, and through the rock cages that caught Matteo Gratarola out for 2 marks. That brings Busto back onto level pegging with Gratarola at the same stage. Still 3 sections, of course, to go for Busto, who sits on 15 marks. Remember, Gratarola finished his combined score of rounds 1 and 2 on 20. Nice first step from Jaime Busto, the opening to section number 3, heading towards the halfway mark in his second run. Remember, 13 marks scored first time out for Busto, 2 marks from the opening 2 sections of this second round. Nice work there on the back wheel from Jaime Busto, who, like Gratarola before him, landed on that concrete block. He now brings the front wheel up to try and give himself a run through the remainder of the section, and he's had to take a dab there. Obviously felt he was teetering out of position, and now sets himself up for the remainder of section number 3. So scrappy midway through this 3rd section from Jaime Busto, and that has cost him 2 marks on observation from the FIM observer Moreno Piazza. That moves him onto a 4-mark score for round 2 so far. So he drops behind Matteo Gratarola in this second round. He still remains 3 marks ahead of him with 2 sections to come. Busto then under a great deal of pressure coming into his penultimate ride of this second round. Just 2 marks to play with to remain ahead of Matteo Gratarola. Make that 1 after a mark for leaning on the opening step of the cotton reels. So Jaime Busto with just 1 mark to play with for the remainder of this section. Then if he drops 2, he'll move on to the same 20-mark score as Matteo Gratarola. But the tie-break in the second round is the superior performance through that second run. So Busto in real danger here. He's got to make sure he drops a maximum of a single mark in the remainder of this section number 4. Busto preparing himself for the second tower here on the cable reels. Up he goes. He's taken another mark for leaning, so any further drop marks for Busto now, and he will slip behind Matteo Gratarola in the pecking order. We watch on board as Busto pulls the machine up. Down he goes. Busto is down and out in section number 4. A 5-mark score there. He slips to the bottom of the pile. 6th position on a cumulative score now of 22 marks. And unfortunately, with his bike damaged and time running out, Jaime Busto's night likely comes to an end. 14 marks his score for round 2, a total of 27. Sondre Haga, 4th in round 1, progressing inside the top 6 for the first time and therefore already guaranteed the best result of his extra career to date. He now has a chance to go one better, just 1 mark back from the top 3 after his first run. He leads Matteo Gratarola by 8 marks. Section 1 and a single drop mark for leaning on the first step there that also caught out Jaime Busto. Busto dropped a 2nd on this upright trunk that Sondre Haga is about to reach here. The 22-year-old Norwegian, representing better, of course. Stunning first run from him. 5 marks up on Matteo Gratarola, single mark up on Jaime Busto, and only 1 down on Raga and Bou. Important step then, this one for Sondre Haga. He makes it up, but like Jaime Busto before him, does so with a mark for leaning. So it's 2 marks in section 1 for Sondre Haga, matching the result of Busto. That's 2 marks poorer than Matteo Gratarola first time out, who really has put an excellent run together with just 3 marks. Section 2 now for Sondre Haga, the rock cages. Sizable first step to negotiate here. Gratarola scored 2 marks. Busto managed to run through clean. Section 2 then. Sondre Haga building up his momentum. Up he goes, but the bike slips down on the sump and he falls out to a first fiasco. And Jaime Busto, remember, finished his run with 2, but neither of them this early on in round number 2. So Sondre Haga sits on 7 marks from 2 completed sections. Gratarola and Busto were on just 2 marks at the same stage. Haga then on to 19. Matteo Gratarola, remember, finished on 20. So any further drop marks, and Haga would drop onto at least 20, the same as Matteo Gratarola's overall total, and therefore he'd be behind the Italian on count back into 5th. Currently 4th position in the standings. Sondre Haga on 19. First step of section number 3, completed quite nicely from Haga. Gratarola was clean through this one. Busto dropped 2 marks, and it was on the descent that Busto began to really struggle. And that's where Haga is about to approach here. Up on the back wheel as the other riders before him. Dropped the bike back down. A mark for leaning then for him. And can he now continue on without any further drop marks? On observation, Sondre Haga brings the front wheel back up, and that's very nice work from the Norwegian. Sondre Haga with the most difficult part of this section now complete. Section number 3 looking good for just a single dab as Sondre Haga steadies the ship. It will drop him behind Matteo Gratarola into 5th position. He's still ahead of Jaime Busto with by 7 marks with 2 sections to come. Even if he drops no further marks, then Haga down in 5th place, and his attention's turning to staying in front of Jaime Busto as he embarks now on section 4. Single drop mark for leaning early on, and he teeters to the left and down and out of the section. It's a 2nd fiasco of the run for Sondre Haga. 13 marks now his score from 4 sections, and 1 to go for him as he attempts to get the bike down from the first of the cable reels in section number 4. His fate there is sealed, but still with a chance to remain in 5th position with section 5 still to come. Any more than a single drop mark now in section 5, and Haga will drop back to 6th behind Jaime Busto. He does have plenty of time in which to try and tackle it. Sondre Haga, up he goes, the first step of section number 5. That is a single drop mark. That moves him on to 26. So he's got to be clean from here on in, Sondre Haga, who was 7th at X-Trial-Nice, of course, his debut as a permanent X-Trial rider. 2 prior appearances as a wildcard, but he's never before enjoyed a night like this. Sondre Haga, currently 5th position, and he hold on to it ahead of Jaime Busto. He's got to run the rest of this section 5 now clean. biggest step of the section. For Sondre Haga, up he goes, and from here on in, it should be straightforward relatively for Sondre Haga, looking good to secure his place inside the top 5 for the first time in his X-Trial career. Fine riding tonight from Sondre Haga. Unlikely to be enough, you'd suggest, to make it through to the grand final. 26 marks his score, 6 back from Gratarola, but 1 ahead of Jaime Busto for fifth. Adam Raga separated from Toni Bou in the opening round by a tie-break on time. He's 9 marks up on 4th place Matteo Gratarola overall. So if he laps with 8 marks or fewer here, he will be the first rider to book his place in tonight's grand final. Raga set to become X-Trials all-time appearance record holder next time out in Madrid, equals Takisa Fujinami's 139 tonight. The oldest rider in the field at 39, the sports veteran, successfully through the first step of Section 1 still clean. Busto and Haga each took a single mark for leaning to reach the highest trunk of this Section number 1. Matteo Gratarola, by contrast, was clean through Section 1. Adam Raga then building himself up at the base of this step. Up he goes, and teetered backwards momentarily, but does nicely to haul the bike forwards, and he's clean in Section 1. So a strong start for Adam Raga. Remember, holds a 6-mark advantage over Matteo Gratarola from the opening run, and of course Gratarola's strong round 2 score leaving him on 20. Adam Raga still on 11, clean after Section 1 of this second round. Now on to Section 2 for Adam Raga, making that first step look straightforward. Remember, that's where Sondre Haga was caught out previously. Raga, the reigning world number 2, representing TRS. He was second to Toni Bou at X-Trial Nice, scoring his 118th career podium, his 39th in succession, and looking to make that 40 in Charlon-Sur-Saone here tonight. Raga proceeding on in section number 2, hasn't looked troubled by either of the round 2 sections thus far. Avoids taking a mark for leading there with a strong and determined leap to the final island of Rock Gabions in section number 2. So through goes Adam Raga, and that's back-to-back cleans, the first rider to manage that in this round number 2. Gratarola has been clean in section 1, Busto in section 2. Consistency so far for Adam Raga. 11 marks then, his combined total, 3 sections remaining in this second round. Breather for Adam Raga before embarking now on section number 3. This one cleaned by Matteo Gratarola. Jaime Busto took 2 marks, Sondre Haga 1. First step completed successfully by Adam Raga, but it's the descent from the next module that has proven the most difficult element of this Section 3 so far, and it looks that Raga is going to take a cautious approach, similar to that we saw from Sondre Haga previously, just sliding down on the sump, taking a single mark for leaning. Oh, the concrete block moving as the back wheel goes down for Adam Raga, but he manages to balance himself nicely, and it looks as though he's going to be out of this section number 3 with just a single mark to his name. So 1 mark from 3 sections so far. That's 1 better than Matteo Gratarola had managed at the same stage. 2 sections to come then for Adam Raga. 2 marks or better here in section 4, and he will guarantee his place in the grand final. Matteo Gratarola, of course, still waiting in the wings. First step achieved nicely on the back wheel by Adam Raga. 2 towers to come of cable reels in round number 2, this penultimate section for Adam Raga. We saw Jaime Busto and Sondre Haga both fail. Raga doesn't look in any danger of that so far. He is still clean in section number 4. Final step to come then for Adam Raga to book his place in tonight's grand final. If he can manage it with 2 marks or better, he's clean so far. He will take a mark for leaning, but that's good enough. Raga is the first of tonight's grand finalists at X-Trial Charlon-Sur-Saone. 2 marks from 4 sections. He's still 1 up on Matteo Gratarola as well in the round 2 leaderboard. So there is still a chance for him to take a bonus World Championship point, but he needs to be clean here in section number 5. Raga again taking his time, managing it nicely. He's seen the riders before him have had no great difficulties against the stopwatch, and Raga is now into section number 5, but with plenty on his side, and already through to tonight's grand final, so he can ride stress-free through section number 5. So Jaime Busto failed this one by running out of time after mechanical problems at the end of his fall in section 4, but Sondre Haga, the only rider to drop marks in this section on observation, and Raga, under no great difficulty through section 5, moves top of the leaderboard in round number 2. Toni Bou, a late fall in Section 5 restricted him to second in round 1, his first drop point of the 2022 World Championship. He'll be eager to return to the top here after his unbeaten run in Nice a fortnight ago to net himself 22 World Championship points. Efficient work so far from Toni Bou in Section 1, the trunks cleaned by main rival Adam Raga and also by Matteo Gratarola, the first rider out in this round number 2. Bou, the penultimate rider, having finished second in his opening run, of course, to Toby Martin. Main step now of Section 1 to come. Carlos Berneda, his minder, watching on. Bou makes it up, but he is going to take a single dab. So it's a mark already to his name for Toni Bou. That perhaps a bit of a surprise after Adam Raga's clean through Section number 1. So on to Section 2 now for Toni Bou, who is only 1 mark up on Adam Raga in round 2 as he bids for a first World Championship point for him of the evening. And with 4 sections still to run. Toni Bou progressing on now through the rock cages. Section number 2, the 15 times and reigning extra world champion. Now has 70 career victories to his name after what was a very impressive win at Extra Nice a fortnight ago. One more leap to make for Toni Bou, the final island of rock cages. He is going to leap it. Away he goes. One final step to surmount. And Toni Bou, with his assistant keeping a watch on the clock, making it through in very swift order so far. Great alacrity being shown by Toni Bou in sections 1 and 2. Third rider to clean the rock cages then. He's on 1 mark in round number 2 with 3 sections still to come. Section 3 now for Toni Bou. Only rider to have managed this clean is Matteo Gratarola, the ascent from the section's highest point, proving the biggest challenge so far. First step easy enough for Toni Bou. We've seen him manage much bigger than that in the past, of course. And it is the technical element of this section now Toni Bou will have to master. Does he take the single mark for leaning, as riders have before him, the likes of Haga and Raga? Or does he try to do it more on the back wheel? Well, he does it on the back wheel, but he misjudges the landing and has to take a dab of the left foot. So that's a second mark in this round number 2 for Toni Bou. And no room for error from here on in if he does want to top the leaderboard and claim that bonus World Championship point in round 2. Penultimate section then for Toni Bou. He needs a single mark or better here to become the second rider to book his place in tonight's grand final alongside his age-old rival Adam Raga. Bou also tied with Raga in round 2, so as I've said previously, he needs 2 cleans if he's going to remain in front of his rival in the battle for the bonus point. This final step then of the cable reels that caught Adam Raga out for a mark that saw Jaime Busto down to a 5, crucial for Toni Bou, and he's managed it clean. Toni Bou then remains top of the round 2 standings and becomes the second rider to book his place in tonight's grand final. Only section 5 remains. Bou still well inside on time, far faster than Adam Raga so far. And that means that a clean here will take him to the top of the round 2 leaderboard with only Toby Martin to come. Bou looking good at this stage to bank a World Championship point, his first of the evening, to add to the 22, of course, that he managed at Extra Nice a fortnight ago. Watching on board as Toni Bou builds up to this ramp and steps, and from here on in, it's a question of straightforward balance. Toni Bou never fails when under that kind of pressure. It is a third clean of the run for Bou, who will pick Adam Raga, courtesy of his superior time. The pair tied on 2 marks apiece, both 1 up on Matteo Gratarola, both on 13 marks for their 2 rounds combined. Toby Martin, the impressive round 1 winner, has 10 marks to play with against Matteo Gratarola for a place in tonight's grand final and what would be his first X-Trial podium. He leads the X-Trial at present on 9 marks. To stay in front, of course, he would be looking to score fewer than 4 marks, with Toni Bou and Adam Raga both having set impressive 2-mark totals in round number 2. Clean through the opening step of the trunks here, Toby Martin. This next step is the one that caught out Toni Bou for one of his 2 marks last time out. Matteo Gratarola and Adam Raga have both been clean through this section number 1. Toby Martin then building himself up. His assistant Alex Wick scrambling over now to the trunks to give him the indications that he needs. Martin is up. He does take a single dab, but he's through in section number 1. That is 6 riders out of 6 then who made it through the trunks. Toby Martin then with a single mark moves on to a progressive score of 10, still ahead of that all-important 20 that Matteo Gratarola sits on. Gratarola currently in 4th position outside of those qualification places. Toby Martin with a swift entry into section number 2, takes a single mark there for leaning on that first step, but again he is able to progress. That first step is where Sondre Haga, of course, fell down to a 5-mark score. All of the other 4 riders who have tackled the rock cages have made it through successfully. Martin with a frustrating dab there of the left foot, and that perhaps a little bit errant on his part, an unforced mistake there from Toby Martin. Still only on 2 marks though for section number 2, the same score as Matteo Gratarola before him, and that is no mean feat because Matteo Gratarola really did ride superbly in round number 2. Martin just takes a look over his right shoulder to check on the FIM section observer to see what his score is. He knows he's still got a little bit of breathing room through the latter stages of section 2, and he doesn't need any of it as he completes 2 sections then of this second round on 3 marks so far. That moves him on to 12, the same score as Toni Bou at the same stage. 3 sections still to come then for Toby Martin. Section number 3. Next up for the Cornishman, the youngest rider in the field at 21 years of age. Only his 6th X-Trial appearance, but really is riding with a maturity beyond his experience so far. Can he convert it into a place in tonight's grand final? He's on 12 marks after 2 completed sections, make that 13, a single drop mark there for leaning, in the same way that Sondre Haga and Raga have taken a mark for security really as much as anything, just to make sure that they can balance themselves on the challenging descent through section 3. It's a little bit of breathing room that Toby Martin has earned himself by topping the leaderboard in round number 1. It is worth riding and consolidating that advantage rather than taking any unnecessary risks at this stage. So Martin is through the first 3 sections with just 4 marks to his name in this second round, and he still has 6 marks to play with 2 sections remaining, ahead of Matteo Gratarola by 7. 6 is what he can afford to lose, of course. If he dropped all 7, he would go behind Matteo Gratarola in terms of countback. 1 drop mark there for leaning at the opening to section number 4. In fact, a mark for footing as well for Toby Martin. Right foot going down, so that will move him onto a progressive score of 15. Matteo Gratarola finished on 20. It's going to be tight in the closing stages of round 2 here for Toby Martin, who slips behind Toni Bou and Raga with his 2 drop marks in the early stages of section number 4. Can he make it out of this penultimate section though to give himself a fighting chance here tonight? Toby Martin, a single mark for leaning in the closing stages, but he does hold on to complete section 4. 7 marks for this run now, 16 his progressive score, and that is still 4 marks up on Matteo Gratarola. 16 marks for Martin, 20 for Gratarola. So if Martin gets through this section 5, he is through to the final at the Italian's expense and onto the podium for the first time. High stakes now for Toby Martin. Never before has he been in this position. 6th, of course, at X-Trial-Nice, and that was the first time he'd made it through to the second round of a World Championship event. He finished the night only 2 marks from 4th. It was a strong performance. He's proving tonight that performance in Nice was no flash in the pan. Martin superb in round number 1, and he's backing it up nicely in round 2 so far. He's made it through all 4 of the round 2 sections to date. He's made it through section 5, and he's made it through to the grand final. After a 6th place result in round 1, Matteo Gratarola finishes his second run in 3rd, just a single mark from top spot. Damage limitation ride from Toby Martin, just 5 marks short of Gratarola on 8, is enough to see him through. Gratarola nonetheless climbs to 4th, while on a night of surprises, Jaime Busto drops to 6th, with back-to-back failures at the end of his second run, and a strong ride from Sondre Haga gives him a career best 5th. Back to the wood section for the opener. Our finalists under greater pressure now, with both directions to tackle in less than a minute. The first time that Toby Martin has been in this situation, but the riders no longer obliged to touch every trunk, and that could help them in terms of time. You see Martin here rushing through, but he's rushed perhaps a little too much, and down he comes to a 5-mark score. His debut in a grand final in the X-Trial World Championship begins with a 5. Raga is next up to tackle the trunks in both directions here. Section 1 of the grand final. We know that Raga's got to keep his score as low as possible if he really wants to go toe-to-toe with Toni Bou. 7 points behind Bou in the World Championship, of course, following Charlon-Sur-Saone a fortnight ago. Raga looking to make back some ground this evening. Nice work in the outbound direction. Technical challenge, and that's where Adam Raga revels. He's got plenty of time in the bank for the second direction that we saw was the more difficult of the two directions over the course of this evening. A couple of marks taken by riders for leading on the first step in this direction, but Raga makes that look easy, and then it's just this vertical trunk that caught out several riders earlier on in round two. No great difficulty though for Adam Raga, who fires up 53 seconds, so no great problems in terms of time, and it's a clean in section one for Adam Raga. And that result from Raga really lays down the gauntlet now to Toni Bou. Clean in section one for Raga. Bou then needs to achieve the same if he wants to maintain his advantageous last starting position and also the provisional joint lead of this extra Charlon-Sur-Saone, the grand final. Bou, with work on the back wheel, gets himself nicely lined up. And what was the exit gate earlier on tonight, now of course it's the halfway mark in section number one. Carlos Berneda watching on for Toni Bou, who makes it up. First step in the return direction, and without dropping a mark so far, so still clean. Matching Adam Raga, of course, every time that Raga cleans it, piles the pressure on to Toni Bou. But Bou has been the master of soaking up that kind of pressure over the years. Just positioning the back wheel where he wants. Still good in terms of time, slightly quicker, if anything, than Adam Raga so far. Building himself up for the final step. Toni Bou too, he's up clean. Two riders clean then in section number one. Bou on 0, Raga on 0, Martin 5 marks behind. Section 2, brand new this one for the grand final. A genuine disadvantage then for Toby Martin to ride out first here. This the trickiest element perhaps, a twist and turn. Martin is up and he can't quite get the turn and goes down. A back-to-back fiasco then for Toby Martin at the start of his grand final run. Toby Martin then on to 10 marks. Adam Raga and Toni Bou were both clean in section 1. Let's see how Adam Raga tackles this challenging turn in the early stages of section number 2. Well, he takes a mark for footing, but he uses that right foot superbly. Spins on what is effectively a pivot and continues on through the section. That was elegantly done by Adam Raga. The rest of the section you fancy would be relatively straightforward, but it is still breaking new ground, of course, in Extra Charlon-Sur-Saone tonight. Riders tackled this section earlier on in the evening, but in the other direction. Raga, though, unfazed, despite not having seen Toby Martin make it this far, of course. Raga doesn't look in any great difficulty in terms of time either in section number 2. He is through. First drop mark of the run for Adam Raga. It's a single from 2 sections so far for him. Toni Bou then with an opportunity to take the lead of this X-Trial, but only if he can clean this challenging element here at the start of section number 2. Raga took a mark for footing, used that foot to spin himself around. Is there a different approach that Toni Bou can use here? Well, he's up, but the answer is no. He too has dropped a mark as he makes his way to the top of section number 2. If anything, slightly daintier than Adam Raga. It was a bit of a scramble for Raga to make it up, but the result is the same. Single drop mark for Toni Bou. Any further drop marks here and he would slip behind Adam Raga. And he'd also have to tackle section 3 before Raga under new regulations in the 22 campaign. Bou continuing on though, looking undaunted thus far. We're all tied a third of the way through the grand final between Adam Raga and Toni Bou. Toby Martin trails by 9 marks. Section number 3. Back to the rock cages. 2 directions now for the grand final. Saw 2 spectacular failures here in round 1. That's the return direction here. First up a repeat of section 2 from round 2. Toby Martin dropped 2 marks here. So far so good though in the grand final. What he can do about this leap. He is across and still clean in section number 3. Stronger ride now from Toby Martin than what he's managed so far. To relatively early failures in sections 1 and 2. And he'll be keen to get through his first grand final section at the midway stage. Section number 3 then. And he's making his way up what is the staircase now, the return direction of this section, but he's tight on time. He's going to have to rush from here on in. Martin makes it through. Oh, takes him out for footing and down he goes again. It's a hat-trick and not the kind he would have been hoping for. 15 mark maximum for Toby Martin thus far. Toni Bou and Adam Raga then 14 marks clear now of Toby Martin. It does look as though Charlon-Sur-Saone has turned into a two-horse race. Adam Raga embarks upon the rock cages. Both Bou and Raga clean here in both directions in their opening two runs. This is when time begins to play a part, because although it's not perhaps on paper the most difficult of sections, it's certainly one of the longest in this grand final. Raga making his way through in the outbound direction with great alacrity, but he is going to have to rush in the return direction. There's still plenty of work to do here for Adam Raga. His assistant Sergio Ribau keeping a close eye on the time and keeping Raga up to date as well. He is going to have to rush here later on because he's taken his time on the turn and on the first step. That's going to be a drop mark for leaning on the descent for Adam Raga. That doubles his points total onto 2. But he is going to have to be fast now to the finish. Adam Raga crosses the line, 55 seconds. He's just about done it. It's a single drop mark for leaning. Adam Raga moves on to 2. And an opportunity now for Toni Bou to take the lead of Charlon-Sur-Saone. Rock cages then for Toni Bou, looking for a clean here to move a single mark ahead of main rival Adam Raga in a low-scoring grand final for the two of them thus far. Adam Raga taking only his second mark through this section at number 3. Toni Bou so far clean. It was in the return direction that Raga pushed on time, made the smallest of errors. Toni Bou looking to remain error-free then. Receives the applause of Le Colisée here in Chalon-sur-Saone. The crowd urging him forward. Always a popular visitor to France is Toni Bou. Sheer spectacle and number of victories that he's provided down the years. Now, where Adam Raga dropped a mark on the descent there, Toni Bou was also a little bit scrappy, but crucially landed it on the back wheel. So Toni Bou is still clean, and he's inside in terms of time compared to Adam Raga. Bou completes the course of section 3 clean and within 51. Toby Martin into section 4, still looking to complete a grand final section for the first time. This one was section 3 in round 2. All 3 of our finalists dropped a single mark here earlier on, and that's where, on the descent, Toby Martin cautiously sliding down on the sump, a single mark for leaning, watched on by Toni Bou, and of course Adam Raga, who are still to come in this section. Oh, Martin's taken another mark there for footing, as he was unbalanced, sliding to the back of that concrete block that was placed between the two modules there. Section number 4 then, 2 marks so far for Toby Martin, but it should be straightforward from here on in. Toby Martin set to make it through a grand final section for the first time, and that will be a relief for him. Toby Martin is through with 2 drop marks in section number 4. It doesn't look as though it's going to be enough to bring him into contention. Every section now crucial for the leaders. Adam Raga on 2 marks so far, Toni Bou on 1. Can Raga avoid the drop mark for leaning that has been the curse of other riders before him here? No. He too will lean on the sump and slide down. So a single mark for leaning for Adam Raga brings him on to a provisional total of 3 marks. With 3 sections completed so far, he's in to the easier side now of section number 4. The assistant watching on. There'll be fast times in this 4th section. Toby Martin managed it in 43 seconds. It's one of the shortest of the grand final. Adam Raga then makes it to the exit gate in 37 seconds. It's 3 consecutive single mark scores for Raga, 3 marks with 2 sections remaining. Toni Bou then with an opportunity to extend his slender lead here at Charlon-Sur-Saone. Into section 4. Adam Raga dropped a single mark here. He's on 3. Toni Bou on 1. Can he avoid taking a mark for leaning on the descent here? And caught out Adam Raga for his solitary dab of this 4th section. Bou poised, working his magic on the back wheel, bounces his way forward. He's dropped his front wheel into a crevice. He's got to try and get out of that now, and as he does so, he takes a mark for leaning. Bou, who looked to have achieved the highest difficulty element of section number 4, still finishes that section on the same score as Adam Raga and still leads by just a single mark. A second mark of the run for Toni Bou. Section 5, the cable reels, failed by everyone but Adam Raga in round 1, and it's failed by Toby Martin in the grand final. A 4th fiasco in 5 for the young Brit. Back to our big 2. Adam Raga trails by 3 marks to 2. Crucial first step here for section number 5. cable reels. Up goes Raga, and down to a 5-mark score. The first fiasco for either of our former world champions in this grand final, and it falls for Adam Raga, who trails now Toni Bou by 6 marks. And a golden opportunity for Toni Bou to seal the deal at Charlon-Sur-Saone. He's up the first step where Raga failed. Bou is so far clean. And if Toni Bou remains clean through the rest of section number 5, he will have got the job done with a right to spare. He leads by 6 marks as things stand over Adam Raga. One section remaining after this one. Toni Bou then. His first real opportunity to strike a major blow against Adam Raga. Raga's failure in section number 5 looks to have given Toni Bou the first ever Charlon-Sur-Saone. Calm in the latter stages of the penultimate section. Well inside on time, almost 30 seconds for the final steps, and Toni Bou completes section 5 in 39 seconds. It is a third clean of the night for Toni Bou, and the one that gives him victory in the inaugural Charlon-Sur-Saone. 2 wins out of 2 then for Toni Bou at the start of this 2022 World Championship campaign. And section 6 is now just for pride for all 3 of our podium finishers this evening. Toby Martin entering his final ride of the night. 4 fiascos in 5 sections in his first grand final appearance. Somewhat overawed by the occasion, I think, going up against Adam Raga and Toni Bou. Also under pressure on time, has been making errors that were uncharacteristic of his riding from earlier on in the evening. Really was a fine performance from him in both rounds 1 and 2, and he can hold his head high on that basis alone. Can he add a second completed section to his grand final account? The most difficult element of the section to come here, the descent onto this ramp, and then a sizable step, atop which Alex Wigg waits impatiently because the time is ticking away here for Toby Martin. His final ride of the evening in his first ever grand final, already assured the first podium place, and that's left him riding through these sections with a smile on his face, even if the results haven't been quite what he might have hoped for. And unfortunately, he does bookend his grand final result with another 5-mark score. It's 27 out of a possible 30, but it's been a fine night nonetheless for Toby Martin of Great Britain. Adam Raga's turn then to attempt section number 6. His 5-mark score last time out in the penultimate section, costing him a shot at glory at Charlon-Sur-Saone. He trails Toni Bou by 6 marks with this final section still to come. And as I've said previously, this is just for pride for Adam Raga, the 39-year-old, 4 times former world champion, of course, making his turn. The halfway mark now in section 6, looking to finish with a flourish. He started with a clean, 3 single-mark scores in the following 3 sections. He was only a single mark behind Toni Bou with 2 sections to come. And that section 5 failure proving critical. How about this next step then? Failed by Toby Martin. Adam Raga a little bit scrappy on the descent, but he's wedged his back tyre in nicely there for a bit more run-up than Toby Martin had before. Raga is up, Adam Raga on the back wheel, and he's through clean in section 6. Fine performance from him to end the night in style. It's an 8-mark finishing total in the grand final for Adam Raga. Final ride of the night then in Charlon-Sur-Saone, and it's Toni Bou, fresh from confirming a 13th consecutive extra win. A run stretching back to February of 2019 at Bilbao. Toni Bou showing no signs of being unseated at the top of the Extra World Championship tree. Toni Bou halfway through section 6 here, this one clean by Adam Raga. The 6-mark margin means that Bou cannot be caught regardless of what happens here. Time for a little bit of showboating. Urges the crowd to support him through now in the return direction. The most difficult element of this section 6 still to come. The descent that very nearly caught out Adam Raga, followed by the biggest step of the section. He certainly did catch out Toby Martin for his 5-mark score. Toni Bou then waits for Carlos Berneda to make it to the top of a sizable step here of cylinders. Bou making his way up. He's taken him up for footing, and down he goes. Surprisingly and uncharacteristically, Toni Bou with a fiasco in the final section of the night. But victory was already assured here at Charlon-Sur-Saone, and the celebrations begin. Tied in rounds 1 and 2, just a single mark separates Toni Bou and Adam Raga at Charlon-Sur-Saone. Toby Martin some way back, struggling in his first grand final. Career best results for Sondre Haga and Toby Martin. Victory in round 1, giving the latter a 13-point score. Toni Bou returned to winning ways from there to notch 21 and another 6-point game over rival Raga.